Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with Aaron and Dr. Mike.
So, now, what I have over here,
yes.
I have little things, is the most common reason stated in the United States, okay, which a lot of our listeners come from, good friends in St. Louis. The most common reasons stated for declawing cats are, number one, to protect babies, small children, and elderly adults from painful, potential harmful scratches by cats. Number two, to protect other declawed cats from injuries. Now, I've heard a lot about that. Number three, to save the cat's life. A lot of people will say they have to have the cat declawed or the cat will have to go be put to sleep. Number four, to protect valuable furniture. Now, I really disagree with this one over here, and actually I'll talk about a personal experience with that. But people, to protect furniture, carpeting, drapes, and scratching and damage, blah, 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 that's not a reason to me. Number five, your landlord or property manager requires it as a condition of rental. If that applies to you, ladies and gentlemen, get a lawyer. That's all I'm going to say. In Ontario, once again, it's illegal to say no to having a dog in the house. So if a dog obviously has nails and can cause 1,000 times more damage sometimes than a cat, there should be no legal ramification in that sense.
Yeah, great. Can we go back to number three?
Number three, to save a cat's life.
I mean, what do they mean by that? I mean, do they go on about that? Or?
Well, no, to save a cat's life, and basically,
in what context?
Either to claw him or have him put to sleep.
Okay, so obviously the cat is doing either harm to the people or harm to the house.
Sure, and it could be either.
Okay, it could be a combination of the above. Okay,
any of them.
Gotcha.
Any of them.
I'm in agreement with you on some of the scenarios. I mean, I do have people that come to me, for instance, with their 8-year-old cat, and the cat's all of a sudden decided to destroy the brand new leather couch, and they want it declawed, and I will actually talk them out of that. So I have a real problem with that.
Really?
Yes, I do.
We want to hear your stories. 416-785-0680. 416-785-0680. Tonight on the program, we're also giving away, a little bit later on, Lauren Conrad is going to help us give away a Samsung Jack smartphone, courtesy of Rogers, Samsung, and Animal House Radio. This thing is worth $450. It is brand new. It is beautiful. In the box. We got it out of a truck. No, I'm just kidding. It's amazing. This thing is beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely...
That's a nice-looking phone. And it does everything. I mean, everything.
We're going to go to the phone lines. We have some people very interested, obviously, who want to talk about declawing. We're going to get more into the subject, more into the topic. Let's go to the phone lines. We have Laura on the line. Laura, are you there? Hi, Laura. You're on Animal House Radio.
Yeah, I just want to say that I am totally against declawing.
Okay.
Because I just think it's really inhumane when there are so many other options out there, and I just kind of want to promote a product that my vet actually told me about. It's called Soft Paws.
And we were going to talk about that later, but we may as well talk about it now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, as I said, I first saw it in my vet's office because they have an older cat that lives at the vet's office, and he had a habit of trying to claw out dogs' eyes. And so
our clinic cat did that too, by the way. We used to have a clinic cat that when dogs came near it, it would, do the same thing.
And so when I went in one day, Mr. had these red-looking claws, and I asked what they were, and they explained that it was the Soft Paws.
Right.
And for people who don't know what they are, basically it's just kind of like a rubber covering that does get glued on, but it is very humane. I mean, they can't chew on them and get hurt or anything like that. Sure. And, yeah, I totally recommend it to anybody who has a cat that likes to scratch their expensive furniture.
Well, but, Laura, here's the point that I'm trying to make is, and statistics show this, people who actually will spend the $500-600 to get the declawing done. Now, right. I'm not for, I'm not against. I'm in the middle here, and I used to debate in university, so I'm going to tell you straightforward. Statistically, people spend $500 to $600 on a procedure for this, and good procedures, as opposed to the really crappy procedures that are $100 or $150. Stay away from them. Now, if you're going to invest almost $1,000 in your cat's health and well-being, statistically, you're going to be spending money on insurance for your cat because it's an investment at that point. You're going to be spending money on the better food for your cat. You're going to be spending money on a lot of different things. So, if someone says, "Hey, I've got really nice furniture at home. My cat's never going to go outside," you know what? My cat is young. They're not going to know it, and if the surgery is done correctly, the effects will last for maybe 2 to 3 months, and then they'll never even remember that they had claws to begin with.
Right.
And at that point, the cat's not going outside, and the cat is probably being looked at with more care in general than 90 other % of cats out there. So how do you rebuttal that if you're saying it's inhumane?
My rebuttal to that would be asking, humans who, get into fights and they scratch each other. Okay, I'm going to now go rip out your fingernails and then tell you to type on a computer or use them in everyday life.
Well, cats don't have to work, and if they did, it'd be great because they'd be paying my rent.
Well, no, but I mean, they got to work. They got to walk on all four paws, which they can't guarantee that it's not painful for the poor things.
Laura, I've got a question for you. Have you tried these soft paws yourself?
I have. I have
not you, but on your cat, then, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, I have 2 cats at home, and for a little while, I'm assuming it was uncomfortable just because it was new to them.
Yep.
But I'm assuming now that they can't even feel it. They walk perfectly fine. They do still use the scratching post, I guess, just because it's natural instinct for them.
Absolutely.
But
it's great that you have one, by the way. We're going to talk about that later. I mean, a lot of people, and if you keep listening, I hope you do, I'm going to go over, listen, for me, as a veterinarian, I personally, if every cat didn't have to be declawed, I would agree with you. I think that's great. I mean, ideally, if you get a scratching post, and we're going to talk about some of the things later on what you need to do so that if you're kind of about getting your cat declawed, you can do things so that they don't have to, and the soft paws was one of them. Right. My negative on the soft paws, and not that they're bad, I like them, is I've had a number of clients try them, and they're not, you must have really easy-going cats, because a lot of people have a tough time putting them on. A lot of people.
Now, Laura, I just had a question for you.
Fall off, too, as well.
Before I let you go, just sure. one question. Are you for or against the death penalty? I know it's a personal question. Just, are you for or against it?
It is a personal question, and to be honest, I would have to say it all depends on the situation.
Okay, so it's not cut and clear. Okay.
No, not really.
That's actually, that was the point I was trying to make, is that in this situation, in declawing, for someone to come out and say it's absolutely cruel, I think that if I invited you to my clinic to hang out while we did a declaw procedure and you watched them wake up and you followed them home and hung out with them for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and watched them, you might have a different opinion. And not to say, again, that I'd rather all cats not be declawed, but for the ones that we do, my opinion is if you do it right, and unfortunately there are a lot of people out there that don't do it right. So you hear the horror stories, and of course everybody who hears a horror story about an animal suffering, including myself, gets all up in arms, and all of a sudden it's the worst thing in the world to do. But circumcision is a horrible thing. Vasectomies are a horrible thing. If you do them right, they don't have to be. Now, I'll tell you something I don't do at my clinic. I don't do tail docking in young puppies. The reason why I don't do tail docking in young puppies is because I can't make it so it's not painful for them.
But you've done circumcision.
There you go. Okay, and ear cropping. Ear cropping on Dobermans, I would never do that. Why? Because, again, I can't make it completely pain-free. I haven't figured out a way to do that, and so till I do, no one's going to make me get into that with anybody. I'm not going to do it. So,
Laura, we appreciate your phone call.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. Appreciate yourself.
Take care.
Laura on Animal House Radio. Once again, 416-785-0680. And we're just going to hang up that line so we have an open line for you to call. We have one line available right now, 416-785-0680. I want to keep talking about this. Now, the point that I brought up about if Laura, I know it was a personal question, if Laura was for or against capital punishment, the reason I ask this is because people in the Humane Society and different societies in general come out and say, listen, hey, in terms of declawing cats, it's illegal to do in several countries in Europe. These countries don't do it, so it's illegal to do it. But once again, we're not in Germany. We're not in Poland. We're not in any of these places. So you can't dictate other laws that are in other jurisdictions on us. That is the major problem I have. And I have a huge problem going to a shelter, walking in there, wanting to adopt an animal and save an animal's life, and having to say, hey, I'm going to plan to have this cat declawed, and I know that I'm a great pet owner. And I know that I can sit there and say, half the people that go to the shelters who adopt do it for the wrong reason as I do it for the right reason. And and they refuse to give me an animal because I say I want to have my animal declawed. But it's okay to ask a questionnaire to say, you know what, hey, have you been convicted of murder? Have you been convicted of any of these other horrible things that you could possibly be convicted of? They don't ask you those questions on the application. Oh, by the way, have you ever been convicted of any serious crime, including being a molester? Have you ever been convicted of being a murderer? They don't ask you those questions because you're not allowed asking those questions. But as soon as you make a statement, are you planning to get your cat declawed? X, gone. Hollywood Squares, gone. You can't even win. You have to go home. Sorry, you cannot adopt the cat. Really, but that's okay for one of the someone who's caused millions of dollars, killed people, and any of these things. And I'm not saying this happens everywhere. I'm saying these are the slips and the cracks we all have to figure out how to fix.